Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski. Some people call me Grizzer because in high school a lot of people couldn't pronounce my last name. And this is where you can come on in and get caught up on some of the latest news involving our Cleveland Browns and get a take along the way, not only from me, but from you. Hey, thank you to everybody who has liked the episodes we have put out so far. Hopefully you'll like this episode, and all of those who have subscribed to the channel. I can't thank you enough. And those of you who love to get into the viewer comments and let your voice be heard, I really appreciate it. That's what we're here for. Healthy discussions about our favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. Coming up on today's show, Joe Flacco being criticized by a former teammate over his mentoring comments. Also, what might be the harshest criticism we've heard so far about Dillon Gabriel? Hey, how about this? A Browns analyst whom I have a ton of respect for praises Shadeur Sanders for what he's done so far. And in the viewer comments, one viewer does not hold back in his honest opinion of each of our four quarterbacks. And before we get started here, folks, as we begin the second week of OTAs, we'll have sessions tomorrow, Wednesday, and Friday, just like we did last week. I have to say, there is a groundswell of support for Shadeur Sanders, and it really feels like the tide is shifting. We're going to talk more about this in a couple of minutes, but first, let's handle this business about Joe Flacco being criticized. So his former Baltimore Ravens teammate, defensive lineman Chris Canty, came out and he did not hold back when asked about Joe Flacco. Remember, Flacco said, I want him to be a mentor, but he's like, I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. I said, I want to compete. I want to try to start. I still want to play. Even at 40 years old, he wants to play. And, he doesn't consider himself a mentor, but he considers himself a mentor just by hopefully everybody watches, how he approaches the game and, and everything. So he said he's damned if he do, he's damned if he does. Like, no matter what he says, he's going to come out, looking like a dope. Well, here's an example of that. Canty goes out and says it's a ridiculous answer from Joe Flacco. There's no guarantee Joe Flacco is going to be healthy for 17 games, especially at 40 years old. Mentoring a young player is only going to make that player better, which makes the team better. You're only as strong as your weakest link. And yeah, he's not wrong. But you have to get into the mindset of the player, right? He's out there because he wants to play. He's not out there because he wants to coach, and get to wear a number and coach. So Flacco is right, and again, this speaks to his experience, I don't know how anybody else would have answered it, but his answer, he knew it. He knew this was coming, and Chris Canty is the first to pounce on him, former teammate. But I don't think it'll affect Flacco in any way. But now, something that might affect Dillon Gabriel is the comment that came out from the Athletics' Zach Jackson, who watched OTAs last week and basically said Gabriel does not look like an NFL quarterback. What did he say? Here is what he said. Gave him really low marks. He says, we have not heard of another team that was interested in drafting Gabriel inside the first 100 picks, which that's on Andrew Berry. That's not on Dillon Gabriel. He went on to say, with some uncertainty of whether he still would have been available in the last two rounds if the Browns hadn't selected him. Physical outliers, which Gabriel fits, rarely succeed in a sport like football. And I 100% figure that he is talking about Dillon Gabriel's height. And we already saw passes. We saw at least one pass batted down last week, and he threw an interception. But Zach Jackson of The Athletic, he's been around for a while. Watched those OTAs last week, and he flat out said he does not look like an NFL quarterback. And so it's, only week one, and, and I told you day one that when that first pass was batted down, people were going to start jumping all over this, and they are already. And so It just seems like this tide is starting to shift to Shadeur Sanders' way. And Brown's color analyst, he works the games every Sunday. You hear him on the radio. His name is Nathan Zagura, and I have a ton of respect for him. This guy does his homework, knows his stuff, has been with the team now for 10 years. He does the Daily Show every day. And just has a lot of great insight and knowledge, not only, about the Browns, but of football in general. He really, like I said, I like him because he really does his homework. And he really likes what he's seeing from Shadeur Sanders so far. He went on a show over the weekend, and it is called, I want to make sure I get it right, Maggie and Perloff, the Maggie and Perloff show. And this is what Nathan Zagura had to say. He says, Shadeur's look good. He said his ball placement is elite. His ability to layer throws is elite. I think he's got plenty of arm strength, which is what was one of the question marks people had about Shadeur coming in. He's like, we've seen that on display, certainly in camp at times. He's like, there is something about Shadeur. I got a chance to interview him, very confident, but not in a cocky way. He has a lot of belief in himself. I like him. I like the kid a lot. And so for Nathan Zagura to say that means something, folks. And this is what I'm saying. I just like it, and it didn't take long. Like, I mean, who cares if he only got 7-on-7 reps? It doesn't matter. He is going to get his shot. And now you could see it. You got radio hosts coming out. I mean, I even saw Colin Cowherd, of course. Now, he's saying Shadeur should start week 1. I'm still not saying that. Like I said, I'm a fan of rookies. At least, give them a little bit of time to adjust and learn and grow. Now, if we don't have to force him in there. I just don't want to see that. But like I said, folks, the support is there. It's coming. He is going to get his shot. He will get his chance to play for the Cleveland Browns. And like we mentioned, it'll be Shadeur against the world. Cleveland against the world, Shadeur against the world. Because, man, when he gets in there, he will prove everybody wrong like he's done in the past. Like, this is what we need. This is what Cleveland needs, because it's always us against the world here in Cleveland. And now we got Shadeur to join us. Shadeur against the world, Cleveland against the world, Super Bowl, right? That's what we hope for. All right. Now, already in the Super Bowl are you guys, because viewer comments, you guys always get high grades. And here we're going to start with Hilda Wingate. Love the name. She says, excellent commentary. Shadeur went through a horrible draft experience. I believe he is bringing his best to Cleveland, and I am praying that his experience in Cleveland is supportive and successful. Thank you, Cleveland and the Browns organization, for drafting him. Let's go, Cleveland. This is the kind of comment that I love. This is where I want us all to live. Let's glass half full. Let's positivity. Look forward thinking. It's not going to happen right away. Everybody be patient, but it's coming. And like I said, just over the weekend, and here we are today, the start of the second week of OTAs, and I can already feel it here in Cleveland. That tide is shifting, so it's coming, folks. It is coming. Now, you want an honest opinion on each of our quarterbacks? Muscle Man 2025 has it. He says, I'm with you on Shadeur. So he's with us. He's good with Shadeur. Only thing is, we need to give him a minute to get adjusted to the pro game. Okay, I 100% agree with that. Would hate to throw him in there too early. I agree. He says game 6, question mark? Yeah, somewhere in there. Remember, I said start him against Cam Ward in Tennessee. Like, that's the one I would love to see. Plus, it's a home game. We know what we have in Pickett. He says in parentheses, worse than awful. Flacco, parentheses, I love you, but you're 40, so you're not the future. DG, you're short. No thanks. So Muscle Man 2025 chiming in. He's like, yeah, he wants Shadeur, and he's like me. This is why you just like this is just I just want him to get a little time to get adjusted, and I think the Browns do too. I think they're going to set him up to win. Gregory Brown 2843. If you might return to Watson, then Sanders, being the cheapest choice, is the best choice because his output will be similar or better than the other options. And his celebrity influence will at least sell tickets even if you suck. Well, two things, Gregory. And Gregory Brown, I don't mean to 100% disagree with you, but one, we are never returning to Deshaun Watson. That is never, ever going to happen. His days in Cleveland are done. Never going back to Deshaun Watson. And the other thing is, we're not going to suck with Shadeur. It's just not going to happen. This offense is so much better. He'll have so many more weapons. He's already got a better running game than we had last year. Like there is no way this team is gonna suck with Shadeur Sanders at quarterback. And then Dred Gowen on the Browns defensive line, and he tied in Myles Garrett to that. He says if they're going to be the core of the team, you want them as fresh as they can be. And that's one thing I didn't really think about, with the whole Myles Garrett thing. Yeah, there's something to that, and plus you're lessening injury risk too, because how many times do we see guys get hurt in OTAs? He says they're veterans. Never heard of them not being ready or having bad practices. They know how OTAs are going, especially Myles. So, okay, Dred Gowen, I'm going to say great take, and I cannot argue with that. And so it remains to be seen. Yes, I am upset. I'm disappointed in Myles not being there, but there are some benefits to it because, yeah, it does save some wear and tear because we will need them when it matters most. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show. Tomorrow they're back on the field, and we'll be here to break it all down. So it'll be another fun week of Browns. Never a dull moment with our Brownies, I'll tell you. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.